Welcome everyone to our second episode of MeZOOMin. A reminder that everyone is muted on here and should stay muted. We were able to set it up so that we can leave your videos on, which is helpful to us so we can see who we're talking to, and helpful to you so you can see each other. And for those interested in having some dialogue and talking to us and talking amongst yourselves, you are invited, if you're on Zoom, to stay on for the after party. So that'll be after 8:30 or so. People will have an opportunity. People will have an opportunity to unmute themselves and to talk to us if you're interested. Meanwhile, you can certainly post information in the chat if you're on Zoom, or in the comments if you are on Facebook. So this is MeZooMin, or MeZOOMin. MeZooMin is where you have three men, or it could be three women, who ate together and benched together. It begins with Rabotai Nevarich, with my fellows, let's bench, let's bless. And so we are Rabotai Nedaber, my fellows, let's talk. Rabbi Wohlberg, Rabbi Yoggev, welcome on. How are you doing? Let's go with our welcome and our minute of meaning for each person. Rabbi Wohlberg.
Rabbi Posner, thank you very much for unmuting me. I really do appreciate that. This is sort of like Groundhog Day. Every day is the same, is the same, is the same, is the same. Today marks 7 weeks that I haven't left the house for all practical purposes. The time has not dragged. It has gone very quickly. I'm fortunate that I'm going to be able to look back on this and say that I learned a lot. I've read so much, and I've really absorbed a lot of information that otherwise I never would have had a chance to do. I have even watched an hour of television a day. So I've tried different things and reading on different subjects than I normally would, and trying to make sure that when this is all over, I'll have something positive to show for it, because otherwise I can't think of anything good to say about it.
Wow. I'm having a different experience than you.
What's that?
I'm having a little bit of a different experience than you are.
You have 5 different experiences than I have.
If we
all of them running around your house.
If we make it out with the same amount of kids as we started, we will consider it a big success.
Why, are you planning on more?
That we will discuss that on the after party. Rabbi Yoggev, how are you?
I'm well. I'm pretty well. Staying busy. There's a lot to do at shul. Feels like we're working, I don't know, maybe just as much or more than usual. It's just so much to do. But I've been busy, staying busy on purpose. A thought I had for this time is we're about to go into today was the 21st earlier, so we're going the next day tonight for Sefirat HaOmer. We're starting a new week in terms of the Sefirot, the mystical spheres. Each day has a different intention. So today's intention is Chesed Shebanetzach, kindness in Netzach, which Netzach means victory. I thought victory is Netzach, Chesed is kindness. I thought a nice little vort would be, we want to overcome everything we're going through. And our sages said some of the worst calamities that happened to us, including the death of the students of Rabbi Akiva, and in general, the exiles, they happened due to the fact that we were not nice to each other. So maybe the way to achieve that victory is through kindness. And today is an auspicious day for that. Chesed Shebanetzach.
Beautiful. I had a moment like that. This is my minute of meaning with one of the kids. As you go through the day, I think it basically feels like you just have a bunch of talk about victories, a bunch of losses, but then maybe by the end of the day, you look back and go, well, okay, actually, I think we won because, we got through another day. So they were really going at it over something. And I managed to successfully to stop them. I said, stop, wait, stop. I do this all the time, but it usually doesn't work. In this case, it did work, and they stopped. And I said, listen, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You guys are just misunderstanding each other. Stop, just listen. And it worked. And I thought, wow, this is like, that's all adults need also. So many times these arguments and these fights, and we're at each other.
Sherry, stop, just listen. Stop.
After this is all over, Rabbi, I'll be happy to come over to your house and work my magic.
It'll be our pleasure having you.
All right, so Rabbi Yoggev mentioned Rabbi Akiva's students. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Upcoming on this episode, our big two discussion points are going to be Rabbi Akiva and his students and the plague that they took on during the Omer period and how that relates to us, especially during this coronavirus time. And then we're going to get to the Yoms, Yom Yerushalayim, Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut, and which of the Yoms we each think is most significant. We also have a guest speaker. We've got a blooper reel for you. We've got a Torah takeaway at the end and some trivia and a meme of the week. So we have a lot going on. We have helping us behind the scenes this evening, Rina Gal-Laskov and Marlene Hollander, who are helping us out. Well, we named Rina, I think, our executive producer, and Marlene is our tech crew, because we realized after last week, we didn't know what we were doing. We needed someone to be doing that for us. So let's talk about Rabbi Akiva and his students. We know that during the Omer period, originally Sefirat HaOmer was a happy time. Sefirat HaOmer was a happy time. It was between two holidays, between Pesach and Shavuot. It was a good time. And then something happened. Rabbi Akiva's students, we say 12,000 pairs, 24,000 of them died during this time. The Talmud says, what did they die from? They died from something called aschera, translated as croup, or some type of like maybe breathing, throat, lung disease that killed them. And we say that the reason that this happened is that they weren't treating each other with respect. Rabbi Wohlberg, is that your take of the story?
Yeah, that is, everybody agrees that that's what it says in the Talmud. There's just a disagreement on what it means that they didn't show each other respect. It's hard to understand how Rabbi Akiva's students, these were great scholars of a rabbi who is famous for having said that the most important verse in the Torah is you should love your neighbor as you love yourself, that these students didn't show respect one for the other. What does it mean they didn't show respect? I like to think that one of the explanations that's relevant for our day and age is they didn't respect each other's opinions. It's only natural when you're studying Talmud or when you're living life that there's going to be differences of opinion. One of the things that we say made Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, the school of Shammai and Hillel, so special was that they did show respect to each other's opinions, even though they disagreed. In fact, the entire Talmud shows respect by giving both the opinion that we follow and the opinion that we don't follow. Today, there's no respect shown for other people's opinions. I think in terms of this coronavirus, I get things sent to me that is either one way or the other. We should open up or we should completely close down. We should stress life. We should stress the economy. The president is handling it well. The president is handling it terribly. There's no common ground. And we can't be a United States if we're not prepared. We can disagree, but you don't have to be disagreeable. And I think that was the mistake of the students of Rabbi Akiva.
So isn't it true that Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yoggev, supported the Bar Kokhba rebellion, and some suggest that maybe those students who died, maybe they died because they were fighting in that rebellion, or maybe they died because they were in close contact with each other, learning together. And if there was a plague going on, the plague spread easily through them. Is it really all from God? I asked you the hard question.
Yes,
I asked Rabbi Wohlberg this question earlier, but I didn't like his answer. So I'm asking you.
So I think a lot of these things are a combination. Oftentimes we go to either extreme. It's completely God or completely ourselves. I think everything that happens in our lives, there's three players: ourselves, God, and other people. And you have to take the work and deal with it on all three fronts with everything. I think it's easy to say, oh, that person, they did this, not my fault. Every aspect, everything that happens, there's a place you can take responsibility. You can see where other people play a part in Hashem. So I try to take in all those three parts into account. In relation to ourselves, our parsha talks about V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. The language is interesting. Love your neighbor as yourself. So first you have to love yourself. Then you get to respecting other people. If you don't respect and love yourself, it's very hard to love other people. And that's kind of like what we're trying to do in the Omer. Every day you're supposed to work on yourself to get to love yourself more and value yourself. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to project on other people positive energy. That could be another way to kind of rectify that sin.
What had gone wrong? It is a little strange that this is all happening during this time, during this period, and we talk about the need to respect and treat others and work on ourselves, and it's true. We talked last week about how we would all come out of this, and how people will probably just fall back on what they were and who they were. But my mother sent me a good comment on that. She said, basically, don't worry about how everyone else comes out of this, worry about how we come out of this, right? So rather than talking about others, talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really powerful. It's interesting. People quote that Gemara about Rabbi Akiva and his students like, yeah, and it came from God, and that's why it happened. And then something that we could look at as similar, like a plague that's afflicting the world.
I think
we look at it like in such a vacuum, like, no, it's just because of the virus and the science and nature. And it's easier to say they were punished by God. And we get a little icky around feeling like, what role does God play in all this that's going on?
I think the connection you're making is really interesting between the plague and people being close to each other in our times. I think I
would appreciate if we stop this discussion, because it is the topic of my Kol Nidre sermon, either for this coming year or for the year after, depending upon how things unfold.
I would say that you could take some material from here, but you probably already wrote it.
I have, but it's subject to some additions and some changes. You see, I'm one of those, I so love God, and I think so highly of him, I'm not prepared to attribute to him plagues and viruses and bacterias and infections and tornadoes and hurricanes. I was told that God is a Keil Rachum V'chanan, a God of mercy and compassion. I'd rather think of him, her in those terms, and what's going on in terms of the coronavirus. Kol Nidre, you'll find out.
I have a rejoinder to that, but it's in my Kol Nidre sermon, and I don't want to share that with everyone. So,
is this how we're going to do it?
Rabbi Posner, everybody at Beth Tefillah understands by now that you're more pious than I am, but Yoggev is the most pious of them all.
We'll take it. So before we go on to our next discussion topic, we've got a trivia question. Rabbi Yoggev?
Yes, here's the trivia question for this week. We're going to try to do a trivia question each week. Feel free to put the answer in the chat bar. If you get it right, you don't get a prize, but we still love you. Here's the question. How many times, this is in our Parsha, it talks about the Kohen Gadol, the high priest service on Yom Kippur. How many times? The answer is between 1 to 10. How many times and this is the same number for both, how many times does he dip in the mikvah and change his clothing? So that's all part of one ceremony, right? There's a dipping and a changing of clothing. How many times do those happen throughout Yom Kippur? The answer, we have somebody, a special guest who's going to offer us the answer to that pretty soon. So if you have an answer, put it in. You can take a guess. There's no wrong answers except for every other one besides the one that's correct.
You
Yeah,
should
that's
know
right.
there was a much talked about article in today's Washington Post about the mikvahs being opened in Israel and the differences of opinion regarding whether it should be that way or not. Here in Baltimore, the mikveh is available for women, not for men, and only under very, very special circumstances. In general, the Baltimore Jewish community has taken a very strong, progressive perspective on dealing with the coronavirus.
The
And
mikvah,
they should
the
be
mikvahs,
applauded for it.
absolutely. The mikvah is a big issue. I've seen a number of articles in secular papers about this because when you boil it all down, what people are talking about, as we know, we've stopped going to shul. There's not much else that you in a sense, have to go out of the house for, aside from if a family is following the laws of family purity of Tarat HaMishpacha carefully, and if they are, then it's really it can be really.
You're by the ocean over there, it seems. Huh?
Yeah, we can. That's right. Well, that's it.
Hop in.
That's an option for people if it's an option. Yeah, as Rabbi Wohlberg said, the mikvah here in Baltimore, they've been very careful, and because of good and strong connections and good working relationships with governmental officials, were able to explain how important the mikvah was and to be in compliance with CDC guidelines. They're being very, very careful about it. So we're fortunate to be able to be in that situation. So that is our trivia question of the week. It's in the Parsha. How many times
did
did
in the chat bar?
Put your answers into the chat
There are
bar?
already a few. We saw 3, 5, 7, 10.
No Googling the answers. It's in the Parsha. And also, I'm sure you all know it well because it is in the Avoda that we read on Musaf, on Yom Kippur. For those who don't know what that is, that takes place after the rabbi's sermon. So if you don't know what that is, then you need to consider staying around. But we do have a special guest who's going to give us that answer later. All right, this past week, we had 2 out of the 4 Yoms. We had Yom HaZikaron, Israel Memorial Day. We had Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. Last week, we had Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance, Memorial Day. And in a couple of weeks, we will have Yom Yerushalayim. I never heard it referred to until I came to Beth Tefillah in the way that it's referred to in the school, and I love it. They call it the Yoms. So you have the Yoms, all the days. And I was wondering, I thought it'd be an interesting discussion. Obviously, they're all key and crucial and important. But if you had to pick one of the Yoms, which, Rabbi Wohlberg, do you think is the most significant of all the Yoms?
And if anybody there in the audience has a Yom that they would choose as significant, you can put it in the chat bar also.
See, Rabbi Wohlberg, you always make fun of me that I care what people think. But see, Rabbi Yoggev really cares what people think.
Well, to me, the most important Yom is Yom Holedet Sameach. But aside from that, first of all, we should pause and think about what you just said. For Yom HaShoah, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, 4 days added to the Jewish calendar in our generation. We went hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Nothing was added to our calendar. And here we're living as part of a generation that we've been literally to hell and back. And we should recognize what it means to be a Jew in a generation like this. For me, Yom HaZikaron, when we remember the soldiers fallen, and then the next day, Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day, have to be connected as one, because you couldn't have one without the other. I've been thinking a lot about that because one of the things that I've done during my 7 weeks of exile is I watch an hour of television every day. You know, I'm not a television watcher. The last time I really watched television was I always watched The Sopranos and I watched Homeland. I go for intellectual kinds of things. And those 2 are gone. But I did, because there is time, I started watching, and I'm hooked on Israeli Jewish connected programs. I watch Fauda. I'm now in the third season. I watched, they are called Heroes, or I forgot the name, or Our Boys. And all of them have made me realize what an Israeli soldier goes through and what their family goes through, and how when they come back from the army, they're not the same as when they left, and how many suffer through marital problems and post-traumatic stress. And in Israel, everybody is connected to a soldier. So to me, thinking of over 25,000 Israelis who died for the state and connecting them to the state, it goes as one. And you can tie in a little bit in terms of Yom HaShoah. When I read that when the coronavirus broke out, Israel sent El Al planes to Peru and Bolivia and wherever there were Israelis and brought them home. First time in 2,000 years, we were able to bring our people home.
You know, you talk about the connection, and it was a powerful story. On April 29th, which was the date of Yom HaAtzmaut this year, there was was 75 years after they liberated Dachau. And they surprised, I don't know how many people saw this, to Google it afterwards, it's very powerful. They had the...
Posner, stop, that's my Rosh Hashanah sermon.
Really?
I have little reference to it, go ahead.
All right, never mind. You'll have to check it out.
No, tell, go ahead.
They had the Israeli, I don't know if it's from the Philharmonic or the Symphony, and or it was symphony members from the IDF, I think, and then from the U.S. Marines.
Correct.
And they had gotten together and done this Skype, and they surprised a survivor who they had saved 75 years ago. And it was just so powerful. They were talking about, just having Yom HaAtzmaut fall on that day. Rabbi Yoggev, which of the Yoms do you think is the most significant?
For me, I connect to Yom HaAtzmaut religiously and personally to Yom Yerushalayim. So Yom HaAtzmaut, I feel Yom HaAtzmaut, Am Yisrael getting their independence. I'm looking at it more from from a Jewish philosophy perspective. Yom HaAtzmaut is the time we Am Yisrael gain more independence. And Maimonides says that in terms of our redemption, we'll know we're in the later stages of redemption when we have autonomy on a political level. And I think that's an amazing thing. It's a step towards redemption. I don't know if it is the redemption, or as Rav Soloveitchik says, it's knocks of God. I don't know, but it's definitely a step forward. It's a huge step forward. That's one sign that we're in that process. So that's amazing for me. That's what I celebrate. Yom Yerushalayim, that's my home, Jerusalem. I lived there for many, many years, and I spent many nights walking the streets of the old city, going to the Kotel, and I don't know. That's my home. So anything connected to Jerusalem.
Well, you can see the Kinneret behind me. But, I want to put a plug in for Yom Yerushalayim also, because it gets forgotten. It's the last one, and everyone's out, kind of. But if you consider where Israel was before Yom Yerushalayim, before 1967, and where they were after 1967, and the key pieces of land that we took back strategically and religiously, and, the thought being that, here we are 19 years later, and we're going to have another Holocaust, and we're going to be wiped out again. And the position of power that Israel kind of in being able to defend itself miraculously, Yom Yerushalayim is definitely an important one as well. Now, Rabbi Yoggev, I know that you did a special singing with your father this week. On last week's episode, we talked about the singing you did with your father the week before. And I know that this past week, you also did a singing with a chazan. Now, this was a beautiful, beautiful song that you guys did together. You want to say something about it?
Yeah. So as some might know, I've been doing a lot of singing, and I've been recording it. So there's some songs I really, really love, and there's certain songs that are in my head all the time. Happens to be that the Chazan's version of Sound of Silence. What's that? Wait, Sound of Silence, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's that song. His version of it is in my head all the time, and I sing it all the time. So I contact him and said, will you join me? I have the merit to join the great Chazan Avi Albrecht, and he agreed to join and sing on my Facebook channel and also on my YouTube. We did a duet to his song. It was so much fun, the singing, and there were a lot of other pieces that were very fun. We started one song. We actually tried to do Mim Komcha from Shul. We didn't get through it. Because Avi Albrecht is one of the funniest people on this earth. And we want to share with you some of the bloopers. I put
not like Wecker, that sourpuss.
Wecker is really funny when he's not destroying things. But
so if you want to see the actual final video, you'll have to go to Rabbi Yoggev's Facebook page to see that, and we'll put that link in the chat. But we're going to show you now some of the behind the scenes.
So these are the bloopers, and basically it took us around an hour to get through 2 songs because we couldn't stop laughing. I think we've just been in the house for too long. So here are 2 minutes of bloopers.
Never before seen.
Hi everyone, I have another guest singer today. It's the famous Chazan Avi Albrecht. So this is where you would say hello.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm here with another guest singer, the famous Chazan Avi Albrecht.
Hello everybody. Hello, Rabbi Yoggev.
All right, you don't have to go crazy with it. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm here with... Well,
Don't wait for me. I do all kinds of things. La, 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 la.
Hi everyone, I'm here with the famous cantor, Avi Albrecht.
Hello everybody. Hello, Rabbi Yoggev. Good.
קדושך לעולם עולם, לעולם לא ישכחך, לא ישכח... מה? ישכחך.
לעולם לא ייכשלו.
לא ייכשל, sorry, okay. This song is about a future time where God will bestow blessings upon us and we will see positive... What are you doing? Hi everyone, I'm here with the famous Avi Albrecht, the cantor of the generation.
ואתה דורש
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. Our Chazan is the only person I know who has a crystal chandelier in his bathroom.
He has a few other interesting things in his home. Perhaps, I wonder if we could, is there a chance we could see some of those things? What do you think, Mr. Rabbi Posner?
Chazan, are you with us, Chazan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was waiting from 7:30 to get in.
Welcome on.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
Chazan, we want to know, by the way, I think that video is now going to go viral. It's going to shoot to the top of all of Chazan Avi Albrecht on YouTube. That's going to be the most seen.
Yeah, I will take it off.
How are you doing, Chazan?
Very, very good. Thank God. I am more busy today than before the corona, for some reason.
Wait. Save your voice, Avi. Don't use it up now.
I am saving it for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we are going to have a big service, and I was told that I'm going to sing Ana Bekoach. So the Ana Bekoach, I wrote
an original composition,
new melody for Anna Bekoach.
Chazan, you know, tomorrow night when we're live with the other three shuls who are joining us, Netivot Shalom, Moses Montefiore, B'nai Israel, you have to get it right the first time. None of these laughing outtakes.
Tell Rabbi Yoggev, he's the one who made me laugh and made all the bloops, everything, you know?
I think it was a joint effort.
Chazan,
Okay.
we asked
You
people
wanted to know also what I do these days also, right? So let me show you, everybody, what I do in the time of the corona. 1 second, bear with me a second and I will show you. Do you see this beautiful view? So I decided to buy wigs, shaitels, because I'm selling it every day. 5-6 hours takes from my time.
I thought it was dead raccoons. Oh my God.
Some of them, that's right. Some of them are dead raccoons.
For those who can't dye their hair, Chazan Albrecht has a solution.
It depends how much they want to pay, right?
Okay, guys.
All right, Chazan, listen, we asked people a question earlier in the show, and we thought maybe you could give us the answer because you should know this.
Okay. Can I tell you, first of all, about the other question? Which one would you prefer? You know, which one is the biggest one?
No.
Yom Zikaron,
No.
Yom Ha'atzmaut?
No, you can't.
Can I say my opinion?
No.
Second, just 1 second.
No.
I think that Yom HaShoah is the one. Why? Why? Because if not for Yom HaShoah, if not the Shoah, we would not have Israel and we would not have Yom Yerushalayim. So in my opinion, Yom HaShoah. Now the other question.
I'm happy someone mentioned that. No one talked about Yom HaShoah. I'm so happy that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Now the other question, the Bgadim. So it's the answer is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to get a big prize because it is 5 times. Am I right or wrong?
He is right. All those who answered 5, you were correct. 5 times.
All those who answered 5, we are giving away tickets to the after party for all those who answered 5.
We chose this one on purpose because it involves washing and changing clothes. We're not hinting to anything to anybody here. But,
Chazan, thank you for joining us. It was great to see you. And good luck with your wig selling.
Thank you.
Selling.
Rabbi Posner, I would just like to add a couple of thoughts. First of all, the idea of Yom HaShoah being the most significant. Yet I understand that. The thing is, I don't like to stress the pain of being a Jew. It's not enough to be a Jew by fighting the anti-Semites. We have to have a positive feeling about our Judaism, and that's Yom Ha'atzmaut and Yom Yerushalayim. Second, I would like to say that Beth Tefillah is uniquely blessed. I don't want to give an ayin hara, but very few people from our congregation that we are aware of have been afflicted with the coronavirus, and we are grateful to God for that. And I would just like to conclude by pointing out to everyone watching, you see the way your rabbis and chazan get along. We genuinely love each other. And that's very special. That's not in every shul. And that's only possible when you have a loving shul, a positive sense of community and of being part of something. I can't begin to tell you how many people I've spoken to on the phone who told me that they so enjoy the Zoom and just staying connected with us. Not every shul do people feel connected with the clergy. Well, here not only are you connected with the clergy, but we're connected to each other. And we're very fortunate to have all of you and to have each other.
Thank you. We feel the same way over here. Rabbi Yoggev, do you want to share a Torah takeaway for people, and also we forgot to show our meme of the week.
We can do it. I'll see if I can connect it to the Dvar Torah, but probably not. All right, here's the meme of the week. Every week we're going to have a meme. Right before we show it, though, we're going to ask for you to submit a meme. Meme is basically a picture with writing on it from the internet. You can send it to my email. It'll be in the chat bar. Or I'm going to solicit it also the day before the MeZOOMin on Facebook. So you can submit one a week. And if we choose it, you'll get a shout out on our show. So here's the meme of the week. I chose it. That's the meme of the week. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but there's some truth to that, no?
That's actual live footage of a staff meeting.
That was 10 minutes before we got on air. All right, so that's the meme of the week, everyone. The short Dvar Torah is connected to Kadoshim to you. It says, God says, Kadoshim to you ki kadosh ani, be holy, because I'm holy. I saw a nice commentary. It said that, why is it telling us to be holy? Because God's holy. God has unlimited holiness, unlimited good to give us. It's not like, it's not like somebody that you're asking for a favor from. They have limited resources. God has unlimited resources. And it's telling us that we can keep growing in holiness, keep praying to God, and God will continually give us all the blessing. So it's saying, don't be discouraged. Keep searching for holiness, elevating yourself and growing in spirituality, because I will continue to give you the blessing. Ki kadoshani. I have unlimited blessing to give you. I think that's something to think about in these days, to continuously go to Hashem, to ask Hashem for what we need, and to not give up, to keep growing spiritually and advancing a step at a time. Ki kadoshani, because God's holy and God will give us the holiness.
That's beautiful. A short while after, here's my Torah takeaway. A short while after that, the Parsha tells us, Lo telech rachil be'amecha. You shall not go rachil amongst your people, amongst your people, amongst the nation. Rachil, this is what we call richilut. Richilut is gossip. But the word rachil is a strange kind of word. It doesn't appear all that often in the Torah, and all the commentaries try to figure out what it means. It's telling us not to gossip, but where does that word come from, rachil? Rashi says that the chaf or the kaf, all letters that come from like the throat are similar, and it can be switched with a gimel, g, k, and it's like regel, don't walk, because he says people walk around talking about other people. But the Ibn Ezra has a very interesting interpretation. He says that it comes from a word in Sefer Yechezkel, rechulatech, which means your merchandise. And he says that merchants travel from place to place, buying and selling their merchandise. This person does the same thing with people on their words. He buys what someone's saying in one place about someone, and then he sells it in another place. And I saw this interpretation. I think it's incredibly powerful to think about, right? People and their lives are not merchandise. They're not meant to be bought, and they're not meant to be sold. So whose words, whose actions, whose lives are we buying, and to whom are we selling them? The sages actually say that gossip is worse than the 3 cardinal sins of idolatry, sexual immorality, and murder. So we don't want to be merchants of people and their lives. We should stop talking about other people. And I think especially during this time, you see a lot of judging going on about the way people are going about handling this difficult time. Let's not be merchants of other people. Stop talking about others. But listen, do talk to us. We'll be back here, same time, same place, next Thursday, from our living rooms to yours. And we're going to stop the recording now in the Facebook Live feed at the moment. But if you're joining us on Zoom for the after party, we invite you to stay with us.
Good Shabbos. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow evening. We really are excited. All the shuls are coming together. It's a Shabbat of unity. Please join us.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All the best. Take care. If you want to stay on, we'll have a chance to chat. We'll stop the recording. If you want to stay on, we'll have a chance to chat.